Hey everyone, welcome to DataMillennials. I am Atul, and in this video we are going to discuss about the user-defined function with arguments. So in this video we'll be looking into 5 different examples that how we can create user-defined function with argument. So in our previous videos we have created a user-defined function without argument, and you might have observed that when the user-defined function is created without any argument, the user is not able to change the input given to the function since the variables are assigned predefined value inside the function. But in practical scenarios, the user needs to pass the input as an argument to the function because the input will change with every execution and the requirement. So it's important to note that the number of arguments while creating a function should be equal to the number of arguments passed while calling the function. So let's see, the first example that we are going to code is that how we can create a user defined function with a single argument without return statement. So in our previous videos, we have defined a function for a table of 5, right? So we'll do the same thing over here, but in this problem statement, we will be creating the function where we will take a single argument without any return function. So our problem statement is that we need to create a table of a given number through a function with a single argument. So as we know that if we have to create a function, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to define the function. So we are defining the function with the name of table function, and in this table function we are going to take an argument which is value 1. Now we are going to use a for loop saying that for I in range of 1 comma 11, then simply print the value 1, then x, which would be our multiplication sign for our print statement. Then we are going to print the I, and then equal to. After that we are simply going to put value 1 multiply by I. Now if I run this cell, you will see that the function will get executed, but there is nothing to call right now in our this cell code. So let me run this once. So as I have ran this cell, you can see that we are not getting any output because we have not called the function. So in order to call the function, we need to take this function name. Within parenthesis, we need to give the argument. So there are a couple of ways of giving argument. You can simply put, let's say if I want to print the table of 5, I can simply put 5 over here. Or what I can do is that I can simply say value 1 equal to 5. This will also work. But to make it simple, let's put 5 only, and then let's run this cell again. So now if I run this cell, you can see that we have a table that starts from 1 and it goes till 10 and it prints the table of 5. So in this way, we are not hard coding the number in our function. We are simply taking a value and putting it as an argument, single argument, and this argument goes over here, and then it will start printing the table. If we talk about the line by line explanation of this code, then this def function or this def statement shows that a user defined function is created by the name of table function. There is only one argument, which is value 1, which is passed inside the function. The function body starts from the next line, which is this line, and it has a for loop which has I as counter variable and number starting from 1 till 10. Even though it's written 11, but it will go till 10. Hence the last number of the counter will be obviously 10 because we have given 11 over here. The for loop body multiplies each number that is passed an argument with I and prints the table. Thus the table of 5 is printed over here in our output when we call the function and pass the argument as 5. Okay, now let's go to the next example that we have over here. The next example says that we have to create a user defined function with multiple argument without any return statement. So we'll take this example only. Okay, pause this video for a second and think that how we can modify this code so that we can take multiple argument without return statement. So what we can do is that we can take this entire thing. Okay, let's say that we have taken this entire thing. Now instead of only taking this 5 as an argument, I can take, or I can give the flexibility to user that you want table for which number, you want to start the table from which number, from 1 or from 5 or 10 or 15 or 20, until what number you want to print the table. Let's say if I want to print a table of 5 from 11 till 25, so my table should start from 11 and it should go till 25 instead of my table starting from 1 over here and ends at 10. Okay, so in order to do that, what I can do is that I can ask three arguments from the, or I can take three argument. The first one is this value argument, value 1, and this value basically specifies that for which number you want the table. Okay, the second argument will be the start number, and the third argument will be the end number. Okay, now what I can do is that I can take this start number and pass it over here as my starting number, and I can take this end number and put it over here as my end number. Okay, then when I'm calling this function, I can simply say get me the table of 5, or let's say I want to get table of 10. Okay, now I want the table from 11 till 25. Okay, now if I run this table, you can see that we have a table of 10 that starts from 11 and it goes till 26. So if I want to end the table at 10 into 25, I need to put the value 26 over here. Let's run it again. So now we have a starting from 11 and end at 25. Okay, so what's happening in this code? So the function named as table function is created using the three argument value 1, start num, and end num. This value 1 argument represents the number for which the table will be printed. The start num and this end num argument represents the starting and ending number of the table. When the function is called for the first time, three arguments are given since no naming is needed. Hence, by default, the position of the argument plays a pivotal role over here, or important role over here. Thus, this 10 gets assigned to value 1, 11 gets assigned to start num, and 26 get assigned to end num. And then we have this for loop which starts from this start num, which is 11, and goes till 25, and we have this print statement over here which basically helps us to print every instance or every counter that starts from 11 till 25. Okay, now let's go to the third example that we have, is that we have to create a user defined function with multiple argument and calling the function by names without return statement. We basically want to create the same thing, this function, but in this code we want to call the function with the argument names also, so that it will be much more easier for the user to understand that for which value they want to put what number. Okay, so let's take this example. Let me copy this over here and put it over here. Okay, let me remove this line. Okay, so we have a table in which we have value 1, start num, and end num, right? And you understood about this entire process, that how this works. Now if I want to create a user defined function with multiple argument and call the function by name without any return statement, I need to give the name of the argument over here. So I can put value 1 equal to 10, start num equal to 11, and end num equal to 26. Okay, now if I run this, you will see that we have the same output. Even if I basically take out this value 1 from here and put it into the last, it doesn't matter. Over here what we are doing is that we are defining the name of the argument and then inputting the value. So now when we are calling the function with the named argument along with the value, hence the value will be taken accordingly. And one thing that we can observe here that the order of the variable is not mandatory. You can basically take out any argument, or you can basically put any argument anywhere. It doesn't matter because we are assigning the value of argument with the names. So the next example that we are going to look with a user defined function is that how we can create a user defined function with multiple argument and calling the function by changing the order of argument without return statement. So we have seen over here that we have changed the order, right? But let's say if I basically take this example and I put it over here. I want the table of 10 that starts with 11 and ends at 25, right? Now if I basically put all my arguments just like this and if I run this, then you can see that we are not getting any value or any output for this cell. Why? Because 26 has been taken as the value 1, 11 has been taken as the start num, and end num has been taken by as 10. So that's why the position is required when you are not giving the named argument. Okay, when the variables are not written in predefined order, the answer will not get computed accordingly. So we have to basically give the variable name, and then we can basically provide the argument in any order. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let me run it again. It will give the same output that we have over here. The last example that we are going to see in this video is creating a user defined function with multiple argument with return statement. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to take the input from user. In our previous videos we had created or calculated the area for multiple shapes, right? So that's what we are going to do over here. We are going to calculate the area of shape by taking the input from user, and then we would be returning the area of shape in the main program. Over here in this example, our arguments will be the input that was given by user. Okay, so let's say that we want to print the area of a square, circle, and area of rectangle. So what do we need? We need four different things. First we need the side of a square, right? Then we would need the radius of circle. Then we would need the length of rectangle, and we would need the breadth of rectangle, right? So I'm going to take the input from user, and we have to make sure that the input that the user is giving should be converted into integer, right? So I'm going to say int, then input, please enter the side of a square. Let me copy this part and put it over here, and then I'm just gonna change the statement over here saying that please enter the radius of the circle, then please enter the length of rectangle, and please enter the breadth of rectangle. Now we have taken the input from user, and I want these input to get into a function as an argument. So we have to define a function. So let's define the function as area calculation. In this I'm going to take this side as my first argument, then I'm going to take this radius as my second argument, length as a third argument, and breadth as a fourth argument. And you can see that we have been separating all of these arguments with comma. Okay, now in order to calculate the length, sorry, not the length, but in order to calculate the area of a square, we would need to multiply this side two times, right? Side into side. So we'll simply say area of a square equal to side into side. Then area of circle is equal to 3.14 into radius into radius. Then area of rectangle is equal to length into breadth, right? Now I have to return these three areas to the main program. So for returning that, I can simply put return this area of a square separated by comma, area of circle, area of rectangle, okay, and all of will be separated by comma over here. Now what I can do is that I can call this function and get the output into three different variables. So let's see, I'm gonna say area, sorry, square area, okay, square area. Then I'm going to say circle area and rectangle area. Okay. Now I'll simply take this area of area calculation function, and I'm going to take this entire argument list, which is same as these argument list names, right? And I'm going to put it over here. Now if I run this, you will see that we would be prompted to give the side radius and length as well as breadth of for this entire function, but we would not get the output. So let me run this once. So if I run this, so we have been asked to enter the side of a square, let's say 5, radius of circle 5, length 5, breadth 5. Okay, you can see over here, okay, we have an error, name length is not defined. Okay, so there is a spelling mistake over here. Let me run it again. 5, 5, 5 and 5. So all of these inputs were given to this function has returned the value in these variables, but it has not been printed out yet on our console. And the reason for that, because we have called the function but we have not printed this. So if I simply take this entire variables and say print, and if I again run this, let's put 5 again for every shape. You can see that we have 25, 78.5 and 25. Okay, now let me do one thing over here. Let's say printing the area of a square is equal to, okay, this area of a square. Let me copy this. So I'm just gonna remove this area circle and rectangle from here. From here I'm gonna remove this square area and I'm just going to put area of circle over here, and I'm going to remove this rectangle area from here. The similar thing I'll do over here also. I'll remove a square area and circle area. I'll keep the rectangle area, and over here I'll put rectangle. Now if I run this, let's say 5 for side of a square, 5 for radius of circle, 5 for the length of rectangle, 5 for the length of, sorry, breadth of rectangle. Now we are getting the output printing the area of a square is 25, printing the area of circle is 78.5, and printing the area of rectangle is 25. So these are the example which you can practice, where you can create a user defined function with multiple argument or a single argument with return statement as well as with no return statement. Happy learning and see you in the next video.